Are we on? All right, good morning. It's now 10:05, and I will call the Sewage and Water Board Operations Committee meeting to order. Special counsel, please call the roll.
Director Howard.
Here.
Director Duplessis.
Present.
Director Pacho.
Here.
Director Sholas.
Here.
Director Kennedy.
Here.
Chair, we do have a quorum.
Okay, now we will proceed with one action item to consider.
Yes, Madam Chair, and before I go into that action item, I would like to present Sierra Labachi as our communication chair to give the committee a briefing on what staff is planning for the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. Sierra?
Good morning. As we all know, this year marks the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, where nearly 300 of our employees remain behind to work to pump the floodwaters out of the city. They are still with us today, many of them, and those who are not also actively participate in the pension committee as well as care about the organization. They're the quiet heroes and unsung heroes of that storm. In honor of that, we are planning a commemorative event tentatively scheduled for August 26th. The details are going to follow later, but it is going to include a brief runner show with remarks from Randy as well as Mayor Cantrell and hopefully the former executive director at that time, Marcia St. Martin. We are also going to be participating with the city in the Katrina Memorial event with the mayor and other city officials to recognize that day. Currently, we have participated in an interview for CNN.com on the valor of employees during Hurricane Katrina. 3 current employees participated, as well as 2 retirees. And so that media outlet is going to run the week of August 29th, possibly the day of Katrina, so that Friday. We are still waiting for that confirmation on date. We are doing an ongoing national media pitch as well as a local pitch to honor the past as we prepare for the future. We want to make sure everyone knows that we have improved and we're making improvements. We're answering the call as climate change comes, and we are leading the way. So that is an ongoing media pitch that is happening.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
How many of our 300 employees are still with us?
So far, I have gathered 106.
I mean, are they still employed by us?
Still employed by us. That is the list of the employees.
106, okay.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay.
and resolution, again, thank you. This is Resolution R120. The basis of the resolution is from the City Council's motion that they approved June 12th of 2025. And I just want to read that first paragraph. I think it's fitting for this. The City Council, a motion recognizing the solemn 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, one of the worst man-made disasters in our nation's history that caused inconceivable devastation and immense hardship and heartbreak here in New Orleans and throughout the Gulf Coast region. 20 years later, we continue to honor the memory of those who lost their lives, provide comfort and strength to the families of the victims, and ensure we never forget the impacts and legacy of this tragedy. The Council hereby declares a day of remembrance to be observed on August 29, 2025, to be added to the city government holiday schedule. The Water Board is following suit with Resolution R120, 2025. Be it resolved by the Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans that the Sewage and Water Board does hereby adopt the following change, which is an addition to the holiday calendar year for 2025 as set forth below. Hurricane Katrina remembers Friday, August 29, 2025, which is a normal holiday.
Question, what's the financial impact of this?
There is no adverse impact to this holiday. We're estimating that this holiday is probably right about $80,000. And what we've seen on the F&A report previous to that, our expenditures are $5 million below for the month of May, and we're close to $40 million below year to date. So there is no adverse financial impact.
It's irrelevant, though.
Yes, ma'am.
Where we stand financially.
So, no, I appreciate that we have the ability to absorb it, but
Yes.
but having that holiday is gonna add a benefit and add a cost. And I'm not saying I'm against it, I'm just asking, what is the actual cost of doing this?
And what I said earlier, we've estimated with our CEO approximately $80,000 for a normal
okay.
holiday. 80,000.
Okay,
Okay, so $80,000 are out-of-pocket costs, and then there's lost productivity or work that doesn't get done.
Well, and that productivity, we treat it as if it's a normal holiday, so it would be the same as a normal holiday.
We have a holiday schedule because we cover.
It's a holiday schedule. We do have our standby shifts on, our essential employees, so we'll go to a holiday schedule.
I, for one, find it hard to see how this, we just approved a holiday schedule. We added a holiday about 4 years ago. This is adding yet another holiday. We have problems, we talk about compensation not being, pay not being comparable, but we keep adding benefits, and there's a cost to those. And I don't see how this honors the 106 employees, the 300 employees that.
I would say, Madam Chair, this added holiday is a special holiday. 20 years from Hurricane Katrina, I would say this holiday acknowledges the sacrifices, the challenges that our employees who were on post, who stood to watch for that day, that's what this holiday is about. I do understand there are
But I
additional.
understand what I'm saying is
Yes.
how does giving current employees a holiday honor the ones that were there then?
With all due respect, I kind of see it a little bit differently.
Okay?
I see it as honoring the entire city and every constituent that was here then and are here now. I think it is important enough for us to take into consideration financial impact, but honor every citizen in the city of New Orleans with this holiday.
What's interesting is I actually usually take that day off personally. And it took me about 5 years to understand I was scrambled up on that day and didn't understand why. So while I appreciate this has a financial impact, I believe that for me personally, going to work on that day, I'm not the best that day. And so it took me about 5 years to sort that out, to realize I need to not work that day.
Okay. We need a motion.
Oh, so moved.
Okay.
Second.
And any discussion? Public comment?
No public comment, Chair.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So now we have two presentation items. One is the Systems Modernization Update given by Daryl Eitz, our Chief Information Officer, and Kathy Smith, our IT Director.
Yeah, thank you, directors. I appreciate this opportunity to present today. I'm Daryl Isles. I'm actually honored to serve as the first Chief Information Officer for the Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans. The CIO role was established earlier this year and created to lead our information systems transformation, strengthen our digital capabilities, and improve our technology services as well as cybersecurity. So as she mentioned, I'm joined by Kathy, our IT Director, whose deep institutional knowledge and stated leadership have helped shape the drive of our modernization efforts going forward. So our work has been guided by the 2022 and to 2027 strategic plan with a focus on delivering secure and reliable data-driven systems that support financial stability and enhance our customer experience, as well as improve our infrastructure resilience. Kathy and I will highlight some of the modernization efforts currently underway and explain these upgrades as they're critical, and demonstrate how they directly support the board's strategic broader mission and operational goals. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry. So as part of our modernization strategy, we're replacing 4 of the board's core business systems. These major system replacements are essential to how we manage our finances, support employees, and maintain infrastructure, as well as serve our customers. These replacements are driven not only by aging technology, but also a need to address operational gaps, respond to prior audit recommendations, and meet evolving regulatory requirements. Each new platform is cloud-enabled and provides enhanced scalability, improved security, and greater reliability to support the demands of a modern utility operation. On the top left, you'll see the financial systems replacement, which is sponsored by the Chief Financial Officer. This is in testing stage right now. We're currently transitioning from the aging AFIN mainframe to Oracle Cloud Financials with a target go live of early 2026. In addition to addressing the technical limitations of the AFIN system, this upgrade responds to findings from the OIG, Office of Inspector General's Office, which call for better tools to track and grant financial performance. The system also provides either real-time or near real-time reporting and grant accounting and stronger financial controls. The Human Capital Management, who is sponsored by the Chief Administrative Officer, is, and when I say sponsored, I mean primary chair of the steering committee. The Human Capital Management System is in final selection phase. It's replacing our current system, GPHR, which runs on Microsoft Dynamics GP, and it's approaching end of life, but also lacks the flexibilities of features that we need today. So the replacement will ensure a payroll continuity, improve employee self-services, and strengthen our ability to manage workforce compliance. The Enterprise Asset Management System, which is sponsored by the General Superintendent's Office. This RFP has been published. We just recently held a pre-proposal meeting. Our RJN CastWorks, our current system, is more than 30 years old. It operates on unsupported technology, and the new cloud-based platform will integrate GIS to improve asset visibility, maintain maintenance planning, work management across water, sewer, and drainage. And the Customer Information System, which is currently the Cogsdale, sponsored by the Chief Customer Service Officer. This is nearing RFP release, and like GPHR, this is built on the Microsoft GP platform and lacks modern capabilities. The replacement will provide accurate billing, improve smart meter integration, and support modern customer portal for service management and engagement. Finally, we're preparing cloud middleware or ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, component of systems integration. The CIO or myself will be sponsoring this initiative as the focus is on systems integration. So this platform will serve as a connection point between all of the core business systems you see above, and those essentially forming the backbone of the ERP environment. The systems integration will enable timely sharing of data, reduce manual workarounds, and support automation and analytics across the divisions. So these systems directly support our goals set forth in the strategic plan for technology modernization, financial stability, supporting infrastructure, and customer service excellence.
I have a quick
And-
question.
Yeah.
Could you go back? So we're looking at an ERP that will integrate all of these things together, but we have not yet selected or are currently going through the ERP process for two of the main ones.
Correct.
How are
That's,
we gonna,
so we have a timeline later that we'll go through, but the reason why the middleware will be RFP the beginning of next year is because we anticipate selection of the rest of those before we choose the middleware. So the middleware has to be chosen. We have to understand what platforms we're going to be integrating. So that's where the timing is on the middleware. The middleware will occur after the selection is complete on all four.
okay,
We don't have to begin implementation, but we at least need to know the platforms.
exactly.
Excellent question, and I think our timeline slide will help clarify some of this as well. So I'll try to do this briefly, but we also wanted to highlight some of the additional major systems, or in addition to our major systems replacement, we have a broad range of other projects that support our modernization efforts. And this includes our goals for improving cybersecurity and customer service. So across the top, ArcGIS is a upgrade for the older mapping system into Esri's utility network model. This will improve mapping accuracy, asset tracking, and future integration with the new asset management system. As we retire the mainframe system, we're archiving the historical financial data in a searchable format. This ensures that we have access to auditable information, reporting, and compliance. We're also nearing completion of a website modernization. This will have public-facing website modernization. This is a redesign of our website to meet ADA, or American Deficiencies Act, 508 compliance for accessibility standards and improved usability for all users. Shortly after that project completes, we are looking internally to update our intranet site, which will be an overhauling of, to strengthen our communications, collaboration, and resource sharing across SWIBNO. This supports engagement of knowledge transfer across divisions. On row 2, these are grouped essentially by business continuity and disaster recovery and cybersecurity. So these initiatives are updating our emergency response plans, our business continuity plans. This also explores introducing a hybrid recovery model for faster restoration of times and offsite backups to our data center. In parallel, we're improving the cybersecurity through firewall upgrades, identity access management controls. We're conducting tabletop exercises with the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA, as it's widely known. And these improvements align with national standards to enhance our resiliency for both physical and digital threats. Quickly mention our cloud storage and digital transformation initiatives. We're formalizing governance we're migrating shared files and documents to cloud platforms like SharePoint, and this improves collaboration and strengthens data security and enables us to have more scalable operations. The 2 in the IT, OT governance framework, we're formalizing the governance framework to align enterprise IT systems with operational technologies like SCADA and telemetry. This will improve visibility of data sharing, system security, as well as our compliance with standards and industrial control systems. And I believe it's been briefed to the board before, but we're participating in piloting the HR digital displays. This is an initiative to installing key screens, working with HR to provide timely internal updates to help messages reach staff who don't use computers, or by sharing announcements and resources and reminders throughout SWIBNO. And finally, the last item here is Windows 10 upgrade to Windows 11. Windows 11 is the latest operating system for end-user computing systems. This will improve security, performance, and compatibility with the latest applications. So these projects may not be as high profile as the major systems we mentioned, but they're essential to building the secure, modern, and responsive technology environment. They reflect our commitment to continuous improvement, as well as delivering value across the organization. And with all projects, we're developing plans and actions to improve technical proficiency across the workforce, so our employees are prepared to fully leverage these systems and tools. And now that we've covered both of these, I'll turn it over to Kathy. She's been instrumental in coordinating our project timelines, ensuring
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, of these projects you reviewed, which ones will be forward-facing, public-facing, versus which ones are pure inside baseball?
So public website is front-facing. The pay by phone.
Yeah, the IVR, some of the dashboards eventually will become public-facing, so customer service with Susanna and her team. We're working at using Power BI and integrating with some billing. So eventually those may be presented on the website or to the board. So there are a number of these that will be forward-facing. Most of these other projects are going to be more back-end because they're more security-related, more network-related, but we have to get our functionality up to technological standards. So we've been behind for a really long time.
So I appreciate that, but
Yep.
so as if I'm reading this correctly, about a quarter of these are sort of forward-facing, and 3/4 of them are internal-facing.
Yes.
And to make compliance stuff. But I think when you're making these presentations to non-tech people, it's important to use real language, because this was difficult to follow in terms of what we were doing for someone that wasn't already familiar with these terms.
Okay.
And it's very difficult for people to sort of say, how are we spending all this time and money on something I'll never see?
Right.
So I would ask you all, when you make these presentations, to really sort of highlight which ones our customers will understand versus which ones will be for our employees, and which ones will ultimately make us either stay in compliance or be more efficient with our money, and which ones will ultimately impact people's ability to interact with the agency. That wasn't clear from this if you weren't very technical.
I appreciate that.
The only thing I wanted to just mention is training.
Yes.
Alongside of all of these ambitions, we want to make sure that we provide proper training for not only staff who will be using it, but for some of those that are public facing. We have some type of user guide, some type of rollout, so that people understand how to utilize and understand what we're presenting with some of these major technological upgrades.
Yeah, so all of our new major system upgrades for our end users, which of course is our staff, we're going to include training. What we've done is we've requested in every RFP, typically after go-live support usually is a 4 to 6 week. We've requested 3 months of post-go-live support from every single one of our RFP vendors. And in that, it's not just go-live support, but it's that 3 months of additional use training with the production environment.
I would like
So-
to see continual, annual.
Well, so all of our vendors have to have continual training processes that we can take to our staff, but the vendor itself is not going to be responsible for the training after implementation. So with our implementations, the vendor is responsible for setting up the software, the 3 months of post-go-live, and then usually it's just support aspect after that. But what we've asked of all of our vendors to present in selection is what do you offer in training that we can ingest and then use through our SMEs and through IT and through our training department to continually train. So we are asking that in our RFPs for them to, provide us with videos of training. Now, the benefit of the cloud systems that we really don't get on some of our older on-prem systems is the interface is much simpler and much more user-friendly. There's also built-in guides, so it's much more technologically friendly. So if you want to create an invoice, there's literally a search box at the top, how to create an invoice, and there's a walkthrough. And it's built into the software itself, which we don't get from the systems that we have now.
And throughout, I'll add, throughout implementation, as we get information from vendors, these are going to build out a public library that's available on the intranet for our users to access and have resources to learn from that as well.
Yeah, we've seen in our past software implementations where training, ongoing training has been the issue. So we've learned the lessons with the previous systems. So we're going to make sure in conjunction, like I said, between IT, Susanna's team, customer service, we're going to make sure that we have all of that continued training.
And then Dr. Duplessis, I know you mentioned customer-facing, that training. There are groups such as the Holly Grove Neighborhood Association, which has an element of technical training to senior citizens and to people who are not very tech savvy, that we can go out and we can partner with them to show them how to access the internet, the customer portal. That is something that we've done in the past with them, so we can still engage them.
For me, it's like, while these things are necessary and critical, we cannot forget the end user and their ability to utilize and take advantage of what we're trying to put in place.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
thank you.
One of the problems with Cogsdale was training. So if we analyze where the training went wrong, is that addressed by the things you've talked about? Or is there something
So-
beyond that that's needed? And what happens if people aren't trainable?
So,
Me, I'm not trying.
yeah.
No, but seriously,
Yeah.
I'm a physician, you all know that, healthcare, and they always roll out new stuff with the electronic medical record, and I can't figure out how to order certain things anymore because they change the buttons, and
They change it.
I don't know how to do it.
Microsoft changes things all the time. Yes.
So it's like I can't.
I think part of the problem, especially with Cogsdale CSM is what everybody is going to be mostly concerned about because it's our billing system. The HR system also resides in the same platform, so it's the exact same interface. Part of the problem we had, and Suzanne, I'm sure can attest, is the user interface, what we call the user interface, is extremely complicated in CSM. So learning how to do, you have to go to multiple windows to finish one process. That is what we're trying to change with the new systems, to where the process is more built in, right? So I think the part of the training is, if you were trained at the beginning by Cogsdale, you kind of knew the step by step. I think where we ended up with a lot of the problem is the change in staff. Those processes were not taught to the next people as people retired, resigned, and we kind of lost that training along the way. We've talked to Cogsdale in the past about coming in and doing sessions, and they have somewhat. But I think we need a much more user-friendly system. And that's what these systems are meant to do. So while we're going through the RFP process, what we did for Oracle and what we're doing for all the others is we're going through not just demos to where we see it. HR right now is in sandbox selection, which means we're having our subject matter experts see the systems, use the systems, they're able to touch it. So they're bringing a sandbox to us that is usable in our situation. And that's what we want to do because we've learned in the past of kind of what we missed, what we need to do with these new systems so that our users also have a say in this one's the most user-friendly to use. And then from a technical and process perspective, we can say, we also agree that this one can fit our processes. So we're trying to combine those things in a correct choice for both sides.
Yeah, if I could add, I think the investment in tier one software, which we've talked about a lot, is something else that's going to be impactful versus a tier two software, which was the Cogsdale.
Tier 1, Tier 2.
It's aimed to a different size of users, end users, customers. There's different classes. You know, Daryl, if you want to add.
I would just call that best of breed. So the software being selected through these major replacements are built on industry best standards. They're a lot more intuitive to learn. There's not it's not specifically built for our use case. These are industry standards. So the tier one, meaning that these are very well known and popular software.
And they're more high functional. So if you're built for a larger audience, say you're built for DC Water or LA Water or something big, the functionality is there that we need rather than buying a smaller, less functional and then having to customize it, which is the problem we had with Cogsdale CSM, which is considered a tier two system.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yep.
The last thing I would say, and this probably goes without saying, as you're doing this work, make sure you're developing your own SOPs. Make sure you're not just relying on what the vendor sells you out the box in terms of tools and training, because one thing that does happen is turnover, and it is real.
Yes.
So making sure, like I said, I know this goes without saying, but I'm just putting it out there, that you're building your own training manuals, that you're
Yes.
able to keep that knowledge institutionalized along with the vendor and what they're providing.
I think everybody that's in place now, including Suzanne and I have worked very closely together on CSM.
Yes.
SOPs are a big deal, and they've been a big deal. I've written a lot since I've been here for 11 years. So we've learned our lessons, I hope, and where we're moving toward is usability, but also functionality and ease of functionality is where we're trying to get to.
And that's great. That's the great advice.
Yeah, 'cause it's a long-term investment.
The problem is that, and I really, I think we spend a lot of time on this because again, tech people understand tech stuff. The rest of us don't. This is a different language. And so even when you're trying to evaluate this process on the front end to see, does it sound right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a struggle, which is why I really, really want technical presentations to come in usable language. Because we can ask better questions if we make sure we understand.
Okay. Great.
Got it.
So IDR isn't in the.
That is not.
And we understand this chart is very busy, but.
Yes. So, yeah, my first apologies is for the busyness of this slide. Some of the staff and the LT have definitely seen this slide a couple of times, but we wanted to bring it to your attention, mostly so you can see the plan for IT and all of the departments of the board for the next several years. I'll kind of start at the top. We talked about the Oracle financial system. We are very well into implementation. Go live is currently scheduled for January of next year. Again, every system is going to have that 3 months of post-go live support. That's going to be written in the contract, so they can't get out of that. And once the system, so we will have to integrate with the Oracle financials with some of our current legacy systems because of the timing. But it will eventually be part of that middleware integration as well. The next is the HCM, and that's Human Capital Management, which is our HR payroll system. We are looking for an HCM, which is sort of that best of breed language, so don't get confused by HCM, but that's our HR system. Again, we're currently in last round of selection. We're in best and final for that. We have demos scheduled over the next 2 weeks, the final sandbox, so we should have a selection soon. We're anticipating and hopeful of a Q4 of this year implementation, depending on how well contracting goes, hopefully just a couple of months. And we can begin implementation in Q4 of this year. The asset management system, as Daryl mentioned, the RFP hit the streets a couple of weeks ago. The responses are actually due back on August 1 of this year. Asset management, if you'll notice, is actually the longest implementation. This is our best estimate, about 24 to 27 months. The reason why this is longer, and I'm sure Ron can kind of probably go in here. So replacing CastWorks currently is about 32, 33 years old.
That's the asset is how we know where our parts and supplies and.
So the supplies in the warehouse and things, the inventory is managed in our financial system. This will be the location of manholes and pipes and all the large assets, so building assets.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, I thought that meant something else.
Underground, no, so underground assets, above ground assets, all of those things. So think work orders, field work.
Your point earlier.
Yeah, but this is my exact point. When we saying assets, I thought you were talking about like laptops and computers and that.
So this is enterprise.
Because I was like, why
yes.
in the world would it take that long to figure out what laptops were?
You'll be happy to know we maintain our own inventory in IT, so I don't need that software. No, so in this sense, asset management is a replacement for RJ and CastWorks. So CastWorks currently works, as Daryl stated, on a very, very old software that we can no longer update. We haven't been able to update it in over 20 years. It is highly customized just for us, and actually the CastWorks company, the company that issues CastWorks, doesn't even do CastWorks anymore. So it's time to get off. Part of the reason why this is a very long implementation, and again, I'll lean on Ron a little bit, I know because Steve is gone. Part of the reason why this is long is CastWorks only holds a certain number of assets. So it does hold the manholes, it does hold the pipes, because the work orders are issued on those. We're looking to add a significant number of assets that are not currently tracked. So our building assets and a lot of the above ground, things like that.
Yeah, those are in CastWorks, but they're not implemented as to detail as in our networks group. You know, so again, as what Kathy indicated, it definitely needs an upgrade, because when I was dealing with CastWorks, the vendor does not support it, but the in-house staff would actually write the scripts to customize for the sewage and water board.
And they still do.
And they still do.
Yes. So we need to get off of it just because of the age of the CastWorks software, but we're also growing the functionality. So it's not just a replacement for CastWorks, it's a replacement of CastWorks in a phase 1, which will be a much shorter implementation, and then growing the functionality so we can get into logging maintenance on all of these things and doing predictive maintenance. So that's where we want to end up with this asset management system, to be able to do predictive maintenance on all of our pump stations and water lines and drainage lines down the road.
Can you distinguish between IT and OT for the team?
So IT is information technology, OT is operational technology. Typically in a utility version, OT would be related to anything on the operational side. So it's technology related to, for instance, SCADA or power, but there is an IT component of OT. So they all have their independent servers and workstations and things like that. So there's always a technological component of operations.
Yeah, OT to me means occupational therapy.
There you go.
No, this is really, the language is, I'm struggling.
So we could do a glossary of terms. We
Yeah,
can have IT do actually a glossary of terms.
Thank you.
Okay, so asset management, so the next one is CIS, which is the Cogsdale CSM replacement. CIS is Customer Information System. Again, just a utility terminology.
Where are smart meters in here?
Smart meters is actually not an IT product, so that's actually Becca and her group on the smart meter.
But they don't put data that goes into here?
So we
'Cause see,
were,
they sound like they're together to me.
so there are integrations between them.
Okay.
So yes, IT, myself actually was involved. I was the integration lead between Becca's team for smart meters and the customer billing system.
Okay,
So yes, we were involved in the integration development, but smart meters does not live in IT,
okay.
if that answers your question. But all of these will actually be IT contracts. So IT will manage the implementations along with the subject matter experts of the particular department. The CIS,
I have one other question, I'm
oh
sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
So we're
I don't
doing,
mind interruption.
we're doing lead line replacements, and we have a public portion and a private portion. Will this system be monitoring the private portions that have been changed or that we need to change? Is that an asset that we would track with this?
I would think that would be
It
part of the
would.
asset,
If
yes.
there should be capability with the new system to add that private portion within asset management system.
Where does it live now, Ron?
Right now, that private portion
Yeah.
is lit within the public department, the plumbing department, which we don't track. So we do not have any assets on the private side in our system, put it that way.
So the reason I guess this is coming up to me is that we're gonna be held responsible for an asset that's on private property that we don't track until we upgrade to this system?
So we're not responsible for the private side, but we are responsible for making sure that all lead lines are actually replaced. And now we have Rebecca Johnson
Right,
here.
right.
who will
Hey.
Answer that question.
Going down the weeds.
Yeah, so we do have a public facing dashboard with an inventory, so that database is maintained. So any resident can go and look at their location and see if we have actual records that are approved by the Louisiana Department of Health that says what their material is. So they're very specific on what records we could use. These are work orders, visual inspections, the initial house connection permitting. So we've compiled all the records that we have, and yes, they're all paper, unfortunately, over the last year, and they're in that dashboard. So any resident can go and look and see what we have. If it's gray, that means we don't have a record and it's an unknown location. You have to assume that it is a lead line at this time and act as if it is a lead line if we have an unknown location, so.
And that would be assumed to be OT, correct? OT, that would be OT?
Definition side, I'll let them handle it, but we have a dashboard with the.
The difference between IT and OT, I don't know if there's necessarily a defined line between them.
right.
There's a lot of overlap between IT and OT. And I think over the last 10 years or so, there's been a lot of talk about IT and OT, whereas 10 years ago, nobody even used the word OT. Nobody knew what that meant. So we're still in the process of working through what those actually mean, where the responsibilities lie. That's part of why Daryl is actually here. Overseeing all of these projects is a lot of my time. So part of the reason why I was behind getting a CIO is because I need that higher level, governance structure and those kind of things that I just can't oversee at the same time of overseeing everything else.
And I'll just add real quickly that IT and OT integration and governance is not just a water and wastewater utility challenge. It's across all industries, and it's as we emerge into a new technology, we see threats coming from various actors and criminals. For example, the Iranian threat that's targeting industrial control systems recently. That was a notification put out by FBI and other CISA. So from a cybersecurity perspective, we're taking that into consideration and that's why I mentioned the governance framework. So we need to start with a governance framework to ensure that we're arming ourselves in the right way to protect these systems, protect our utilities, and protect our infrastructure. And that's a holistic approach. And that's where IT and OT converge in that structure.
Okay, and I know we're kind of short on time, so we'll try to finish through this. The CIS implementation, the middleware, which we talked about, RFP should come out early next year once we determine the last couple of platforms. I just wanted to note on the middleware that we actually will implement that in-house. So that will not be a vendor implementation, we will buy a software from a vendor, but we have a cloud engineer on staff that will be the one responsible for setting it up, managing the integrations long-term. So we do have somebody on staff that will be responsible for all of that. So if there's changes to the integrations in the future, we don't have to pay a change order to a vendor. We'll have somebody here that can manage that. What I think the main thing that we wanted to highlight here is so everybody realizes all of these implementations, or most of them, have some significant overlap because of sort of the reasons Darrell had already mentioned about we're kind of, this is not normal for a utility to undergo this many software implementations at the same time. Because we're losing our platform for 2 of them, it's going end of life. Microsoft is canceling extended support for the 2 with the red zone. We know that there's an end date. We have no choice but to get off of these 2 systems well before that end date, or we lose Microsoft support. The CastWorks system, we all know, 30 plus years old, it has to go. We can't upgrade it anymore. AFIN almost out the door, but AFIN itself is almost 30 years old. So we've got 30 years of data that we need to transition off as well. So there's reasons why we need to do this and why we have to do them concurrently. This is not something we've decided to do in the last year. This has been planned for quite some time. We've had to do needs assessments and RFPs, so it's taken us a while to get to the point where we can get here. But now that we've only got a few years left and we know some of these implementations are multiple year processes, we're at that point where we just kind of have to move forward with them. But we are prepared. I just want to let you know, this isn't something we've taken lightly. It's that we already have everything on the books. IT actually employs a project manager for each of these systems. They've already been in place for multiple months. So we have oversight individually for each of these projects ready to move.
Well, thank you, Kathy. So I'll bring this back to a higher level. So we're replacing the key takeaways here are that we're replacing the outdated systems with modern cloud-based platforms that are scalable, secure, and aligned with industry best practices. These will significantly improve how we manage our assets and finances, as mentioned. Integration is a key focus here, and we're, the plan of the middleware platform will allow us to have our systems communicate in near real time or real time in most cases, and this will reduce the manual processes that we have and support automation going forward across all divisions. We have customer service capabilities will be strengthened to provide more accurate billing and expanding service tools and better internal coordination. But we're also improving operational efficiency with the enhanced asset tracking with our geospatial information systems, our GIS integration, as well as modern tools that streamline our workflows and support more modern and informed decision-making. At the same time, we're reinforcing our cybersecurity and compliance, including our disaster recovery and emergency business continuity planning to strengthen resilience, ensure compliance, and maintain readiness in the face of evolving threats and storms. So all of this is being delivered, as a side note here, with approximately 60 civil service personnel and contractors mix, many in this room supporting. So we have a relatively small footprint supported by Avenue Contract currently, and the team's working hard at making this, and we're highly coordinated effort, as Kathy mentioned.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Go back to the slide. The enhanced customer service, is that something that's going to be made public in terms of some informational item as to how we will improve responsiveness and billing accuracy and customer engagement? Is
So
that something that's going to be
I
put?
think the new customer information system, I think that is the plan for the new billing system. So to have it more functional for our staff means better responsiveness for the customers. Having the ability to access accounts without having to go through multiple things With the new systems, you're also going to have the staff all see the same information. The reporting's going to be more standard, which is one of our problems that we have with Cogsdale CSM. So I think the new customer service, the new utility billing system should enhance the customer service processes. Okay.
So we've outlined here our path to success, recognizing that there are concurrent projects happening over the next few years that are highly coordinated. We're grounded in strong governance and a deep commitment to support both our internal workforce as well as the community we serve. These projects will be kept on track through established governance, which includes steering committees, our project tracking, cross-departmental coordination. These measures promote transparency, ensure accountability, and keep our efforts aligned with the board's long-term goals. As we discussed, we're empowering our workforce, and that remains a top priority. So from the early involvement to system testing to dedicated post-go-live support, we're making sure staff have the tools, training, and guidance they need for successful transition. Our cloud-first strategy is a key pillar in helping reduce the infrastructure cost, improve reliability, and maintain continuity of operations under all conditions, including emergency and storm threats. And we're equally focused on performance and continuous improvement going forward by tracking adoption of systems and the return on investment through project milestones and the key performance indicators, which will be metrics tracked within the project timelines. We're also or more importantly, I should say, is we're doing all of this with the community in mind. These modernization efforts will enhance our service delivery, increase transparency, and strengthen public trust. So unless there's any questions, I thank you for your time and support.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next item is a smart metering update on changing the way we do business with Rebecca Johnsey, the Deputy General Superintendent.
Hi.
Johnsey?
Good
Hello.
morning, everyone. Thank you for having us. Y'all hear from me a lot on this topic, so I've actually brought the team members to come talk to y'all directly so you can hear from them. I know we hear a lot about meter counts, and this technology is a lot more than that as we talk about it. It's about the data and how we use it. So they're going to go into what that looks like briefly. We're running out of time, but we'll get there. And so I would like to introduce Anthony, Jason, and Sarah. And I did want to make one quick note before they started. In case anyone's heard anything on the customer portal, we are aware that there is a timeout issue. It affects our internal employees a lot more than our customers. We're still seeing them able to use the portal, but there's a chance that if they're in there doing things for too long, that they could be logged off before they finish their work. So we know about it. We're working with the developers on it with our IT team. We're touching base with them several times a day. So just wanted to make y'all aware that we're going through that and working to get it to full optimization.
How long is it before they're experiencing timeout?
So the problem is industry standard is about 15 minutes before you get logged out of a software.
Okay.
We knew we needed longer, so we actually put 45 minutes into our time frame. So right now we're seeing anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes for a customer. So it's significantly less than we designed. It doesn't impact most customers on how they're using the portal because it's usually they're only on for a minute or two to check out a bill, to look at their usage. But we just want to make you aware that we know it, we're working on fixing that. So with that, I'll turn it over to Anthony.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Anthony Jean-Marie, Utility Customer Service Manager with the Smart Meter team. And so with the Smart Meter program well underway, we have now over 120,000 meters installed. And now we can look holistically at the way we're using that technology and how it can positively change the way that we do business. And so we started installation in September 2023, and we have now, again, like we said, installed over those 120,000 meters on schedule. And we've also installed 2,900 smart meters that are now enabled with pressure and both temperature monitoring capabilities. This technology is not just about meters, but it's about how we use that data. It allows us to change the way we do business, and it impacts our operation operation, our customer service, and our customers and our community as a whole. This right here is my favorite slide. This is a quick reminder, a quick illustration of how the technology works. It takes hourly usage data from the front of a home or a business, and it transmits that usage every 4 hours to our respective base stations. That information is relayed to the customer portal as well as our internal software for billing. This allows not only for billing with accurate information, but as many more benefits as we'll see moving forward. We've become, our team is what we consider like the nexus between operations, customer service, our customers, and the community. And so one of the greatest impacts that we see is that it requires less truck rolls. Nearly eliminates the estimate readings and accurate data. It provides accurate data to our customers. One thing I will note about the truck rolls, there's a cost that is attached to that. On a national average, our truck rolls can range anywhere from $230 to $300. So that's definitely making a positive impact there. It also provides the tool to help our agents resolve customer billing issues, and also it enables our customers to better understand their usage and also helps them manage their account. It has the detailed and accurate data, and so this amount of data that we're getting, it drastically increases our ability to operate effectively and allowing for streamlining and efficient prioritization, not just with us, but also as our customers as well. And also, this is a big plus. It helps in build trust between SWEPNO and the community. And so now I'm going to turn you over to Jason, who is our data guru, Jason Shaw.
All right. Thank you. For our operations team, the smart meter technology reduces manual meter reads and truck rolls while providing timely and accurate billing data. It also gives us valuable insight into the meter population for proactive maintenance. With tools like pressure profiles and water audits, we can investigate issues and remotely and prioritize field visits, saving time and resources. The detailed data enables an initial assessment to be conducted remotely. This slide displays water usage charts. And the chart on the left illustrates a meter showing continuous consumption, and the pattern suggests there's a potential leak on the customer side. This insight allows us to assist the customer in identifying the potential leak source without having to dispatch a field crew. The chart on the right indicates a meter communications failure. In this case, a site visit will be necessary to investigate and resolve the issue. This slide shows how we're monitoring the city's smart water meter network in real time. Each meter reports data on usage and performance, allowing us to track the health of the entire system. On the right, you'll see our alarm mapping interface. It flags issues like leaks, tampering, or communication failures, and shows us exactly where they're happening. This helps us respond faster, reduce water loss, and maintain service reliability. This map highlights the map on the right highlights where we've installed some of our pressure smart meters across the city. And the chart shows the pressure trends over time. By using pressure data, we can detect leaks earlier, reduce water loss, and extend the life of our infrastructure.
Those are on our system, right? The 2900?
The 2900 are our ally meters that are installed. We're going to have more than that at the end of the project. But here's a snapshot of a location where we deployed these smart meters. So instead of having an iPearl, they have an ally. It does the same thing, except it also has these 2 additional sensors. So this map that you're seeing right now is an interface in our Census Analytics software, which is a cloud-based software. So you can get to it from any internet browser. The integration of this information is not currently tied into our SCADA nor to our customer information system because of all of the presentation you just heard. We're waiting so we don't have to reintegrate over time.
And those 2900, I know we're loading more, those are the ones that have remote cutoff capability.
They do, yes. We are not currently using the remote cutoff capabilities, but they do have that functionality for future.
All right. So far, we've looked at how the system improved operations and response times, but just as important is the impact on customer service. With smart meters, agents can now view customer accounts directly, making it easier to guide residents and customers through their usage data. They've also had better tools to detect leaks early, explain billing details clearly, and communicate more effectively through the new messaging center. All of this leads to a faster support and a better experience for our customers. Here's an example how our agents can proxy into a customer's online account. This feature allows them to see exactly what the customer sees, usage graphs, billing history, and alerts. It makes it easier to walk a customer through their data and answer questions and resolve issues on the spot. This slide shows how the usage data is visualized for the customer. The bar chart displays hourly and daily consumption, with blue representing normal usage and orange highlighting potential leaks. This level of detail helps both customers and agents quickly spot unusual patterns and take action before it leads to high bills or water waste. This slide introduces the customer portal, which gives residents a simple and powerful way to manage their water accounts. From the moment they log in, they can view their account status, billing details, and recent activities all in one place. The goal is to make account management more accessible and transparent. Beyond account basics, the portal offers tools that help customers better understand and control their water use. They can track hourly usage, compare it over time, and view detailed billing history. The portal also supports online payments and let customers sign up for alerts like early leak detection and high usage notifications so they can take action quickly. This slide highlights how the portal helps customers visualize their water usage billing. And the first chart shows the monthly billing amounts over a selected date range, helping users track spending trends. The second chart breaks down usage by rate tier, giving customers a clear view of how their consumption affects their bill. These tools make it easier for customers to manage usage and avoid surprises. This slide shows how the portal helps customers detect and respond to leaks. When a leak is detected, a banner appears on a customer's account for the duration of the issue, keeping it front and center. They also receive a notification with details about the leak. To support self-resolution, there's an interactive model that helps customers investigate the source of the leak and suggest possible fixes, often before they need to call a professional. This empowers the customer and helps reduce water waste. Now I'm going to turn it over to Sarah.
Thanks, Jason. Hi, my name is Sarah Sharp. I'm helping to lead the communications and the customer engagement for the smart metering program. So it's my job to make sure that customers and the community are aware of all these great tools that you just saw Jason and Anthony present. As stated here, reliable, industry-proven technology helps build trust with better data, accurate information, and timely communications. Additionally, we're now able to send targeted communications on issues such as boil water notice, construction and weather-related events to help keep the community informed. And I'll just say, related to targeted and timely, which are two big points here. Targeted is that we now can send through the channel of preference to the customer that's on their account. The default is email, but we have capabilities of sending email, text, and dialer. Timely is that we can set up these communications, produce them, and deploy them within minutes. Yeah. Next slide. So these are some of the examples of the targeted communication capabilities. What you see on the right is a map that's in our portal. And this is where we can geofence certain areas to send targeted communication. So it's kind of hard to see, but in green there, I've highlighted kind of the fairgrounds neighborhood. So we can take a neighborhood or an area and geofence it and send very specific communications, which the communications department has done on some of these awareness things that you see on the left. So we've been able to utilize that tool. In addition, we can also just send a general communication to all email addresses for something like the freeze warning and the freeze tips. We also are able to send very targeted promotional communications. So for example, we're trying to increase enrollment in auto pay. So we're currently sending very targeted communications to customers who are registered for the portal, but not signed up for auto pay yet. We also want to make sure that customers are aware when they get their new meter that they should go in and sign up for the portal. So once a customer gets their new meter, we're able to send them an email to say, hey, you know, here's a link to sign up for the portal, and here are all the great things that you can do in the portal. Okay, to go on to the next slide. So it's with all these new tools, it's important that we educate our customers on how to use them. So we've produced several videos, learning tools, and in fact, we're going to show one at the end of this presentation around that we just produced, hot off the press, the Detect a Leak video. And last slide. So the last slide is also about how important it is that customers understand how they're utilizing their water. We're trying to really make a concerted effort to educate them on the differences in how they use their water, whether they're choosing a bath over a shower that uses more gallons of water, what a typical bill is, what a typical customer uses on a daily basis as far as gallons, or what a family of 5 might use. And very importantly is really trying to educate customers about leaks, you know, what difference on their bill can a leaky faucet or a leaky shower head, or especially a toilet leak, make on their bill. So what we're going to do right now, if we can serve it up, is the Detect a Leak video that we just produced. And just before we hit the play button, basically, you know, we're as you saw from the tools that they talked about, customers are now much more aware of a potential leak. We're sending out a lot of communications, so we want to make sure that they know what to do. You know, they get this message, you have a potential leak. So this is an effort that that the communications department worked with us to produce this video. Thank you.
Did you know that a small leak could have a big impact on your water bill? A leaky faucet dripping once per second can waste over 8 gallons of water per day, and a leaky toilet can add over $40 per month to your water bill. Today, we'll show you how to detect and fix common water leaks in your home. First, let's check for leaks at faucets, shower heads, hose bibs, and other locations where water is connected to pipes. So look for damp areas or puddles around plumbing equipment. Running toilets are a common source of leaks and are usually easy to fix. Put food coloring or a dye tablet in the toilet tank and don't flush. Wait 15 minutes and then check the toilet bowl. If you see color in the toilet, the tank has a leak, most likely from a worn flapper valve. To check the flapper's condition, turn off the toilet's water supply, mark the water level inside the tank, and wait 15 minutes. If the water level has dropped, replace the flapper or plunger ball. Leaks commonly occur in rubber hosing, connection points to the pipe, or even a simple worn faucet washer. When inspecting water heaters, look for a puddle of water around the bottom of your water heater tank. Inspect pipes for deterioration. If you observe a reoccurring damp spot near your water heater, check nearby plumbing and the water heater's connections for visible leaks. Outdoor irrigation systems can be a big source of high water bills if a leak occurs. Start by checking your irrigation controller to see if it's malfunctioning or incorrectly programmed. Inspect your irrigation system's piping, valves, hose connections, and nozzles. Run the system and look for geysers, pooling, and uneven coverage. Over time, cracks and leaks can develop, especially after a freeze. Run one station at a time, checking for issues. Sprinkler heads that seep water after an irrigation cycle ends should be replaced with heads equipped with check valves to stop the water from leaking out. Not all leaks are obvious. Look for signs of water damage on floors, ceilings, and at the back of cabinets and crawl spaces. If you suspect a hidden plumbing leak, shut off the valve that controls the water flow to the damaged pipe and call a plumber, or replace the damaged section of pipe. By following these steps, you can detect and fix many common leaks in your home and save water and money on your monthly bill. For more complex leaks, contact your local handy person or plumber for professional advice. Thanks for watching.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right?
Very helpful.
I want to shift the focus from the customer to read the meters. When this program was initially unveiled, the committees and the board were told that meter readers would possibly be retrained so that they could be placed in other departments. Is that still the ongoing process, or are the meter readers just out? They
No, no.
lost a job and.
Well, let me
so-
say, as I've said when I came back, no one is going to lose a job. Either you're going to be retrained, reallocated to another position, and I'll let Rebecca chime in on that. But I just want to, just for the record, no employee will lose a job associated with smart meter. The goal is to retrain, reallocate our resources, and I'll let Rebecca go in because they've started that process already. Rebecca?
Yeah, so what's great about our meter reading staff is they're going at all of these locations. So they have this knowledge of what's occurring in the field. And so it allows us to do a lot of small projects to get these data cleanups happening. So these are locations that maybe it's a difficult to read meter, and so it's hard to find. So they know where that is. They're helping us prioritize there. We're going and looking at populations that, you know, the account says that it's a vacant status. Is it really a vacant status? They're going and looking at that and doing a field visit. So even with this technology, you always have to have field visits. It doesn't erase everything. There's always need for that. And then we also have other areas in the board and other opportunities that, you know, these meter readers want to take advantage of. So we're working with them to look at those opportunities so that they can have that longevity in their career here.
Follow up on that question. The meter readers were actually some of our highest liability employees in terms of getting injured at work. They were falls, they were getting bitten by animals. That is a huge source of liability for us in settlements. Do we have data showing that liability risk going down because we have fewer people going to read in the field because of this?
We'll research that data and get back with you on that.
Yeah.
So we'll get with our CAO, and we'll pass that information along and provide some feedback on that.
I just want to say, Rebecca, thank you. Anthony, Jason, Sarah, my first time seeing you guys up. I really enjoyed this. Couldn't be more proud.
Very good, very good. Okay, thank you.
So, are there any public comments?
No, Chair.
Then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. We're now adjourned.
Good job. Yeah, have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.